This is Valley of Tears from MMP Games, part of the Battalion Combat series. We're looking at the situation at the end of day 9 on the Sinai and the Golan fronts. Most important area on the Sinai is this Israeli penetration towards the canal, which has actually succeeded in seizing a bridge across the canal. Now remember, once that happens, there is a small amount of uncommitted Egyptian reserves that are eligible to bring into the game, but these will cost a victory point penalty to do that. The the Egyptians also received a lot of reinforcements on this day, which is something I didn't expect, because I don't look at the reinforcement schedules deliberately to give an element of surprise to the game because I'm playing it solo. Now what happened is the 23rd Mechanised Division arrived here, which has moved up to pretty much prevent any serious breakthrough across the canal. Other things that happened, the 21st tank, which was quite a small formation, this one it doubled in size due to arrival of units at its HQ through the reinforcement schedule. The 6th Mechanised also doubled in size, with new units arriving at the unit's HQ, and these have moved into a position to prevent a breakthrough at Chinese farm, but they'll probably go back into strategic reserve now. Well, say strategic, I'm on board strategic reserve on the map. The Israeli breakthrough here is it's looking a bit sort of exposed now because of the Egyptian units that are coming in from the from the west and from the south. We've also got the 1st Division, sorry, not the 1st Division, the 18th Division here is hanging on by a thread. It's taken an enormous battering over the last few days. It's lost all its armour, and it's still got some support, but it's wavering. It's not been able to, it has gone into prepared defence now at last. We've got the Port Side Command here, which is they started retreating back across the canal, but because the situation's stabilised near that breakthrough, they're going to push back across the canal again and go on to the attack once more. The other area where there was a potential breakthrough is around Chinese farm. Now this is sort of stabilised, and there's been quite an extensive tank battle taking place between the 4th Tank Division of the Egyptians and units of the Nassimo, I'm probably mispronouncing that, Israeli Armoured Division, and the this other division, the 252nd Division, which is supporting it. The problem now is because the Egyptians have got they're all in prepared defence. Well, most of the divisions are in prepared defence now. They've got their sagas back, so they've got decent support. A unit with an activity rating 3 Egyptian unit with saga support is as good as an Israeli armoured division, but to use that saga support, they've got to be in prepared defence, and they've got to be behind the flat line, the SAM battery line, this green dotted line here. They lose their saga support if they go across that line. The Israeli attacks around here have been horrendously expensive in terms of casualties, and what the Israeli command's going to do now is probably stop the offensive for a bit and concentrate entirely on the Golan, because I don't think we're going to make much progress here. The Israelis have put a very small brigade unit here into a support role let's say, support role, a strategic onboard reserve role, hopefully to back up the situation in the breakthrough area here. Situation around the Third Army is pretty stable. The Israelis have attempted to knock out as many Egyptian victory point hexes as they can get. The victory point hexes are marked with the red sort of discs there, and ones that Israel have got, they've got one, they're marked with green discs. So all in all, the situation on the Sinai is looking like it's going to go back to a stalemate fairly quickly. Situation on the Golan is starting to get absolutely critical due to heavy Israeli air interdiction, plus the fact the snafu ratings for the Golan for the Syrians this turn are -1, so there was a total -3 snafu for those effects. Seriously disrupted all activity along this front. The Syrians also suffering from mixed supply, mixed formations, and crossing streams as well. Because unlike the Egyptians basically don't suffer that. Infantry and armour can move and operate like buddies, whereas Syrians can't operate as buddies. And also the Syrians have got allies like the Iraqis and the Jordanians as well, which have to operate independently of the Syrian army, or if they don't, they'll cause problems. Now, up north, the 7th Infantry Division has been absolutely slaughtered. It's lost all its armour, it's lost its support capability, and it's reeling. It was also paralysed due to poor throws on its snafu roll, so that's not holding up well. The first tank is taking an appalling battery as well, and that's reeling. They've got the third tank here that's moved into position. That's a relatively fresh division. That was the onboard strategic reserve before the Iraqis and the Jordanians arrived, so that's committed to the battle. We've got down south, you've got the 9th and the 5th Infantry. They've also taken horrendous casualties as well. They've pretty much lost all their armour, and they've both lost their support as well. So all in all, it's looking pretty good for the Israelis. The only thing that's bad is this fatigue level 4 here down with the 210th Division, which is the strongest division on the front. So that's going to have to take some recoveries to get back to a reasonable strength, because this -4 on the snafu table is going to make it very difficult to actually operate effectively. In terms of the air war, everything's going to go over to the Golan. Now, I say everything, pretty much everything. I'm not going to move the entire Air Force over, but I'm going to massively concentrate the Israeli Air Force on the Golan. And the reason I can do that is I'm using the Israeli free air operations option in the rules. Otherwise, you'd have to throw for it on a table, which I think is daft, because it's just completely random then. And I'm pretty sure that the Israeli Air Force didn't operate on a random basis. Another thing is the Israeli Air Force has taken a bit of a battering. They're starting to lose victory points for air units lost over the Sinai. So if they concentrate on one front, they can suppress the SAM batteries and actually reduce the effect of attrition on their air units. So All in all, Golan, effectively the Syrians got the Golan victory points for what they achieved early in the war, and it's up to the Israelis to seize those victory points back by basically achieving another set of objectives that counter it. But things aren't looking good for the Syrians.